I grew up very strict in church. It was Pentecostal, so a lot of rules. We weren't allowed to do anything, basically. You know, you can't cut your hair, you can't wear makeup, you can't wear pants, couldn't go to the movies. We didn't have a TV in our home growing up, just a lot of, you know, very strict things. I don't ever feel like anything was instilled in me that was like, helped me to live life. One of the biggest things that just did it for me was, it was Memorial Day weekend, and I went out on a boat with some people from the church. And it was hot, and I had on my long jean skirt, my hair, you know, down past my ankles, and I had on a short sleeve shirt, and I was so hot, and I rolled them all the way up. And someone else from the church saw me, and so I got called in for that. And the way it was done was just that the reason I did that was because I didn't have a heart after God, and it just killed me. When I left the church, I was like, done. I had met a guy, I got pregnant, and we got married. It was a hard marriage, and I was only married for about 2.5 years, and then I left. And when I left, I think is when I just went crazy. I was pretty much like over this thing called life. I didn't understand it. I didn't think there was really a purpose. I'm just like, what is this all about? You know, I didn't care. And I began to drink a lot, smoke, you know, cut my hair even more, tons of makeup. And not that that matters, but those things to me was, I'm gonna show you, like, I'm doing this, I'm doing it. If you want me to be wrong, I'm wrong. After my mom died, I spiraled out of control. I felt very lost. I was very devastated, my mom and I. And my sisters are very close. I had lost my job, lost my car. It just felt like my life was just up and down all the time. You know, I'd get just a little bit of good and then just bam, something else would happen. A really good friend of mine, her mother and them always came to Central. And she said, you should probably just contact them and just see if there's anything that they can help you with. And I'm like, what are they gonna do? Like, no. And then a couple months went by, and you know, still just going here and there, whatever. And I started to get Michael involved in the kids' nights, because I was like, yes, I can go and just drop him off. And sometimes I would just even sit in the parking lot for 2 hours, because I was just like, to have some peace and quiet. And I remember the first service that I came to Central, and he preached on, is he God or is he not? Is he faithful or is he not? And I just started journaling and, you know, just remembering these things. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try it. You know, either you can do it or you can't do it. And if you can't, well, then I'm done with this.
This is not a cat and mouse game with God. This is not God saying, let's see what you can do first. Let's see how good you can be. Let's see if you can earn it. That is not God at all. God is saying, just ask me. Just ask me.
So we were driving back, and I saw a little sign, just very tiny. It said for rent. So I was like, oh, I'll pull in there. So we were still dressed for church and everything. So I pulled in, and I was looking in the windows, and it looked way too good to be true. And a lady came out, and she was like, can I help you? And I was like, yeah, you know, this is me and my son. I introduced us, and I said, we're just looking for a place to stay. Been searching for a few months and just really praying. And I said, we just came from church. And she was like, oh, really? Where do you go to church? And I said, well, we just kind of started going somewhere to Central. And she's like, oh, that's where we just came from. And she's like, we've really been praying that God would send the right person. And I was like, oh, please, Lord, let it be me. I said, just pray that it is me, because this would be so awesome. Ended up leaving, calling the landlord. You know, he gave us the price, and I was completely floored, because I was like, wow, that's perfect. And I was just like, okay, this is a little too easy. So he told me what the deposit was, and it was hardly nothing. And I was like, are you serious? I was like, I've got the money, you know, I've got it in cash. And he was like, you know what? I just wanted to make sure that you were serious about the place. He's like, don't even worry about it. So I get in the car, and Michael was like, wow. And I'm like, I know, that just happened. I think when I got to the point to realize, hey, this can be easier, and God does care about me, and He does love me, and He does want to help me, and I kind of surrendered that part of myself to Him, it really, life still does not make sense to me, and I still struggle a lot, and I'm still trying to find what I believe really in different aspects, but it is so much easier, and there is not a person in this world who could tell me that God did not do this for me and Michael.